All right, joining us today on Pirate Radio Live, WNCT Channel 9 Sports Director. He is the Hall of Famer Brian Bailey. BB, how you doing?
Not too bad. How are you? A little hot.
A little hot.
A little humid.
Enough to make you mad.
Sometimes.
First thing you said when you came in is, I hate your shirt.
Well, look at it.
And I love it because that's what I love about sports, Bailey.
Yeah.
Me and you can kind of get along and hate each other's teams.
We kind of get along. You're right. We kind of get along.
I think we get along all right.
No, we do fine. We do great. I hate Jaden Daniels. And the
Good.
Redskins.
When's the last time you hated a Redskins
No,
quarterback?
I like Jaden Daniels. I think he's a good quarterback. I think he's a good person. I like him, but I don't like him when he's talented and winning games for the Washington Commandos.
I had to stop myself from saying people I don't know are good people because the last guy I did that about, I was like, this guy, he's great with his community, goes back to where he went to school. He's awesome. Just seems like an awesome guy. Was Deshaun Watson.
Oh.
And then a few things came out.
A couple of things.
So, yeah. And I said, you know what? Maybe I'm not going to say people I don't know are good people.
Well, you're probably right.
I think you're trying to jinx Jaden Daniels.
Sophomore slump.
He's about to get arrested for something. But no, glad. Hey, it's football time now. No, hey, thank you to the NBA Finals and Stanley Cup Final in Omaha to give us something. But now we're in a bit of the doldrums. But before we get into any of that, Bailey, you were at a wedding over the weekend.
I was.
Nailers?
Yeah.
Getting
QB1.
hitched?
QB1. He got married, and that was a lot of fun. It was I've known Holton since he was born, so I've followed him for a long, long time, and just to hear, I knew Morgan was nervous about doing his speech, but he did a good job with his speech. It was good, so it was a fun time.
I saw a picture of Donnie Kirkpatrick. Was it like a little mini football reunion?
Oh, yeah, it was fun. Some of the guys were around, and they were taking a picture of something. And I said, Donnie, call a play for him. And Donnie said, Holton, just run the play that I called.
But good to see DK and some pictures there, and good deal. Well. I did want to ask you, when did Brian Meador become a cool hat guy?
I think he found that on the side of the road. I'm not quite sure where that came from.
It was like a Payne Stewart style. What kind of hat is that?
I don't know how to describe it, but it's him. He likes it.
Yeah,
and
he looked good.
He's styling with it. Yeah, it looked good. Yeah,
kind of looked like he could have been a mobster or. Yeah, Jared said extra. Read all about it.
He's joking the man's hat
from his old news days.
Yeah.
But we need to get Meador on so I can ask him about his hat, and then he'll tear me down, and it'll be
I think Marty picked it out. So his wife. So it looked good.
Whatever she says goes. All right, Bailey. How about Coastal's run coming to an end to LSU and two good games? Man, that game Saturday reminded me of ECU and Coastal.
Yeah.
And Conway, the 1-0 game. Big story was the ejection from Sunday. And, if you want to go letter of the law, you're not allowed to argue balls and strikes. Now, if that's the case, Cliff Godwin would be ejected from probably 25 games a year.
Somewhere in the line, there has to be common sense.
Yep. Yeah.
I mean, that's just basically what it comes down to. And I've kind of, I've heard different sides of the story. Well, like you said, letter of the law, if you're arguing balls and strikes, you can be ejected. But it just looked like to me that, and there was a warning apparently, but it was kind of slapped out there really quickly or something. But if I were the umpire at the time, and you're getting yelled at and you say, you put your hand up and say, Coach, stop. And I talked to a guy in town today who was an official, and he said, the way we handle it in basketball is a little differently. We go over and say, hey, look, you keep on, we're going to have to throw you out. That's just how it is. But you just, you put your hand up, stop, and then you say, this is your warning, and you pull your little pad out and you write it down. So everybody in the thing, everybody knows it's a warning. And if you keep on, but I thought it was awful the way it was handled, and I hate to see a game that's affected by the officiating, because most good officials will tell you, the way we know we did a good job is that nobody's talking about us.
I mean, it is a thankless job. It really sucks, to be honest, because nobody at the end of the game is cheering as the Blues go out. They're either booing or not saying anything. And if they had a good game, they probably aren't hearing anything. But God bless the umps that do it in Little League and Rec League, because those parents make it an absolute nightmare. But you're right, Bailey. It all kind of comes down. And Coach Schnall even said it, that You need to have a little bit of, I don't. What words did he use? Leniency or
Patience, a little bit of
patience
patience. I mean,
and
you're playing for the game in the game of your life,
Yeah.
and you have to win in order to advance. And it kind of it escalated so quickly. I mean, basically, he just told him you missed the last 3 pitches. I made the comment. I was like, well, he didn't say that maybe one of those was a strike and one was a ball or something. But he said he missed the last 3 pitches. Obviously, he missed all 3 of them, according to coach.
Yeah.
But still, it just seemed like it could have been handled much, much differently. And then it got, and then the other umpire comes in. He comes barreling in there, and then
That
he
was
falls
hilarious.
down.
That was hilarious.
And it's like the Keystone Cops all of a sudden. I mean, it was really bizarre how that thing ended up. And he gets up, he kind of throws his hands up like, I'm not embarrassed in front of all these thousands of people.
Nobody might see that.
Nobody saw that.
Chanel after the game said, "I shouldn't be blamed for a man's athleticism,"
Exactly.
which is an awesome line.
And he said that one umpire said that's two games for bumping the umpire. Well, he didn't bump the umpire. The umpire bumped him.
Yeah.
And that was brutal, and it should have been handled differently. And I mean, that's part of the game of baseball. Is you can say you can't argue ball and strikes, but everybody does.
Hard to fathom LSU's baseball reign, and I said it during the broadcast Saturday night that since they've made their first trip to Omaha, like 40 years ago, they've made it half of the seasons back.
Yeah.
And like we're trying to get to one, and
right.
Well, I mean, it's just incredible. And now the rich are continuing to get richer and all that, but SEC wins another one.
Yeah. How many in a row was that? I know I was
think
looking
6. I heard
like Vanderbilt was in there, and Tennessee was last year, and it was a whole run of Ole Miss was in there.
Mississippi State.
Yeah. So the rich get richer for sure, but Coastal was a good story. I mean, it wasn't. I thought the when they won it in 2016, that was a better story because that was truly an underdog story. I thought Coastal was one of the favorites when they got there. I thought they had the pitching, I thought they had the defense and the hitting, and I just really thought they would do well in the series, and they did. And they got to the championship series. You lose a game 1-0, it could have gone either way, and they just couldn't get the big hit when they needed it through game 1.
Man, they had
game
a lot
2.
of chances.
Yeah, a lot of chances.
That guy that stole third and then slid about to the dugout, that had to be frustrating.
Yeah.
in the Saturday game, you overslide the bag, but little things like that and costed them. But great run and fun College World Series.
It really was, and that's one of my goals is to get to Omaha. And somebody asked me, said, "Why don't you just go one year?" And I said, it wouldn't be the same.
Yeah.
It's like going to Williamsport. I wouldn't want to go to Williamsport unless a Greenville team was there. And I've gone twice, and it's a bucket list item if you haven't gone to Williamsport because it's really cool.
And you've covered this before, but like even going to the Super Bowl when it's not your team, like if you just went as a spectator, I guess you get to see a concert and a football game, but I don't know. I don't want to go see. In fact, I had this argument on the air one day. Like, would you go see 2 random teams play an NFL game? And I just don't think I'd enjoy that.
Yeah, I don't think so. I would either. But I did. Well, I say that. I saw the Patriots and the Panthers in the Super Bowl in Houston.
It was a great game.
And it was a great game, and I enjoyed all of that. That was a little different. But I really enjoyed seeing the Bills and the Cowboys in Atlanta. That was nice.
Your Cowboys. That's right, kids.
They're getting better.
They used to be good. Oh, they're getting better?
You see, I like when Clip gets cocky, good things happen for the Cowboys.
Well, and you might be right because I have been cocky about my team maybe 4 times since 1991. So
I think it's going to be fun, though. I think Dallas has improved a lot, and I'm not saying they're going to win the Super Bowl, but I think years past – I always said it doesn't matter if you get to the playoffs. Well, they got to get to the playoffs, and after last year with everything that happened, but I think that'll be fun. We all hate the Eagles, so we can root against the Eagles every week.
We were looking at it, Bailey. We were just talking about over-unders and like which one of the elites is going to go over their total, and that would be like Buffalo, Kansas City, Baltimore, Philadelphia are all like 12.5, I think. 11.5, something like that. And I chose Baltimore because, like Dallas, they have no issue in the regular season. Their problem is when they get to the playoffs. But how about those teams? Do you see any of them taking a step back, and also who do you see? Who's the 15 win team this year? like Detroit was last year.
You keep thinking that Kansas City's going to take a step back at some point.
That's who Jarrett says.
Yeah, you just have to. Yeah, and
and
Kansas
they
City,
have.
yeah,
But
and
they
they've had
still
some
win,
games
like 7-6.
Was that the game last year when they played the Raiders and out of nowhere, and the Raiders just pounded them? I mean, it was just
2 years ago.
Yeah, that's what it was exactly, out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And I think that, but I still think Kansas City. I like Mahomes, but all it takes is one big injury for any of those teams, and they have
Kelsey
big problems.
just look, he's awesome, one of the best all time. But Bailey, you've watched how many best all times have you seen throughout your football watching career, and they fall off a cliff?
Yeah.
Happened to Peyton Manning. Happens to all the greats. Tom
you get
Brady,
to a certain age,
somehow found the fountain of youth or something and was able to keep going. But all these greats, man, like you watch Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, and Irvin, and
Michael Irvin.
At some point, it just runs out.
We were at Tiebreakers yesterday, like we normally do, and one of the TVs had, I think it was the NFL Network, but it was the AFC Championship game between the Patriots and the Colts, and I'll never forget that game because Rano, my son, was a big Colts fan. He was all fired up, and the Patriots just dominated the first half. And he came in the bonus room where we were living at the time, and he was crying. He's like, "Dad, they always beat us. We'll never beat them." I said, "Hey, man, you gotta keep the faith. You can't give up. Look at the Cowboys. They won so many games through the years when they shouldn't have. You got to keep the faith. I mean, they got a chance. And they came back and won that game. And I always remember that particular game.
I remember coming home from a Redskins game as a kid and listening to a game. It was the Cowboys and the Colts, and they kept talking about the new triplets are here now, Peyton and Marvin and Edgerrin James, and the old triplets are gone. But it's the circle of life in the NFL.
Yes,
Bailey.
it is.
Which is why I'm trying to enjoy this Jaden Daniels thing. Look, people say, "Oh, they're going to be good for the next 10 years." Yeah, it don't happen like that.
No.
You get a Mahomes case or here and there. Josh Allen and Lamar have been on great runs and have been able to stay healthy, but it don't happen like that for
That's
everybody.
the whole key. I mean, Jaden, he could have 10 good years if he stays healthy, but it takes one big injury, and next thing you know, you got all kinds of issues. And the teams that stayed the healthiest will be the teams that are playing in December and January when it matters.
Hopefully we can see some healthy Pirates in the NFL. Very excited about what Keaton Mitchell can do.
Yeah.
They're fired up about him in Baltimore.
Man, he's fun to watch, and he was fun to watch when he was at East Carolina, and hopefully he's over that injury, 100%, and that'll be fun.
Yeah. All right, what do we got now, Bailey? What you focusing on in sports?
What is today? Monday?
It's Monday.
It's one of those things that this time of year you kind of just take whatever happens. You kind of you check everything, and there's just the camps at East Carolina are fun to cover. Some of those are good. I think baseball is going this week with a camp, and football has a couple throughout the summer. Basketball has theirs in July. There are some 7-on-7s that'll be coming up pretty soon, high school wise, and they had some basketball down in Jacksonville last week. We didn't get to much of that because some other things going on, but that was some of that stuff. And then we All-Stars. All-Stars now is not what it used to be as far as television coverage, because it used to be everybody wanted to be on TV, but now with social media, I think the parents take care of some of that themselves.
Yeah.
We'll do a little bit of that. But that Greenville Little League championship series was something.
Man, I saw Trent Britt had a video. You would talk about like a crowd and
Oh
people
man,
getting into it.
It was good
looked
stuff because it was a 7:00 start, and Zach was out of town, so I knew it was just me, and I wanted to get back and get the 11 organized, and that game kept going on and on and on, and I think we were in the 9th when I finally said, "Look, I got to get back." And Brian Weingart sent me some video at the end of the game, the celebration and stuff. It went 10.
Oh, man.
Great game.
Yeah.
Great game.
Awesome.
Drummond Auto Sales winning it.
Good deal. Let me ask you about this, Bailey. I don't follow recruiting because I tried 1 year here at Pirate Radio. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get into recruiting. It was a long time ago. I interviewed 3 guys, put the interviews up on our Pirate Radio website. None of them played a snap here at ECU. One guy.
What does that tell you?
One guy decommitted. One guy never made it. One guy, I don't know. And it was like, you know what? Yeah, I'm the kiss of death. But 2, I'm done with this recruiting crap. Like, whatever. And I just brought it up this way. It didn't make a lot of sense to me that East Carolina did not offer Tyreek Copper and have not yet offered Marcus Monroe either. You've got the son of Pirate greats, Terrence Copper, Kevin Monroe. Terrence still involved at ECU. Kevin Monroe is on the broadcast. And I get that Blake Harrell and company are looking for the best possible players, doesn't matter what their name is. So I get that part. But you mentioned common sense earlier. It would be common sense to me to try to get these guys in the program. And it really stinks to see Tyreek Copper committing to NC State.
Yeah.
He'll be wearing red. Terrence will be wearing red, doing the Wolfpack thing.
Oh,
it's gross to think about.
Say it ain't so.
Yeah.
And I don't know those two individuals as far as what their relationship with East Carolina was, as far as what East Carolina thought that they could do.
Yeah.
But obviously, if somebody's going to state, they can play.
That's my thing too.
I've seen him play a lot. He's
Yeah.
really, really good. But you just don't know. It comes down to needs. It comes down to this and that. But you make a good point. I mean, they both should be in purple and gold.
I said that I wish there was a almost Chancellor's roster spot or something. Like I get there's numbers and everything, but man, you want to keep these legacy guys. I feel like, and just kind of frustrating. But who knows? Maybe I think there's some other.
Hey, this day and age, you never say never, because you can commit. You can commit, change your commitment, or you can go for a year and then decide you're going to transfer. So they could come back.
That's true, but ECU has to want them. They didn't offer them.
Well,
that's my issue.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't want me then. You want me now? I don't know. It irks me. But again, I know Blake Harrell and company are trying to bring in the best guys. So it's kind of a weird deal. I mean, it's most of the times you say this isn't personal. Maybe it's personal. I feel like the white uncle of Tyreek and Marcus right now. I'm an angry uncle.
There's so many things you go.
Uncle Clip or
Uncle Clip.
Uncle Clip. White Uncle Clip's upset.
Yeah, that's it. Get off my lawn.
Can I go to the cookout, guys? So, anyway, yeah, there's that. Have you ever, like in your job, you got so much stuff to do. Have you ever been into recruiting at any point in your life?
What we normally do with recruiting is we try to keep an eye on the area players.
Pitt County and Green.
Even Jacksonville.
Lenore,
anybody we cover in Touchdown Friday, we try to keep an eye on and try to, and we usually don't do any kind of story if somebody is being recruited by or they're getting a look or they got an offer. I should say it that way. If somebody gets an offer, we don't report on that.
Commit.
But if somebody commits, then we'll do something like that.
Yeah. And man, now it's just you don't even know what to believe because kids putting out their own offer. Just like you said with the All-Star video, everybody wanted video coverage. Now everybody does their own coverage pretty much.
Remember the kid? I guess he was out west somewhere,
Colorado.
He made the whole thing up.
Dude did a signing day.
He did.
Put the Colorado hat on, and they didn't know who he was.
Yeah, like what in the world?
That was a long time. I need to look that up.
That was funny.
All right, BB.
Took guts.
We'll catch up with you in 2 weeks. We'll be
Sounds
off,
good.
Next Monday.
Okay, good. All right, 2 weeks.
2 weeks, and look, by the time we get back, we're going to be about 2 or 3 weeks from a football game, the Hall of Fame game.
Hall of Fame game. We've got the American Media Day coming up in Charlotte, July 24th, I think it is. We've got the Bill Dooley chapter. I think that's the 25th. A lot of stuff going on to get ready for the college football season, and then once we hit college football, you know what that means.
Yeah, see if you can get a good quote from Doran or something.
Yeah, and Belichick, that'd be a lot of fun.
oh man, I didn't even think about that. Hey Brian.
Yeah,
Brian.
Well, we worry about. I
don't know why I thought about this, but we'll end it here. And it's not a great story, but Bob Huggins came up, and I remember telling Jarrett, I need Brian Bailey to tell the Bob Huggins story. And it wasn't crazy or anything, but like he came to Minji's, and you've gotten along with just about everybody, but you said Huggins really wasn't having it that day. Right?
I knew just from talking to everybody else that it was going to be a tough little interview, and it wasn't anything major, but I think it was like on a Friday night, and they played Saturday. They were working out, and I said, well, Bob Huggins is in town. Let's go over. And so we got permission to go over and get the interview. And the SID, I think he set me up because he said, man, Bob's a great guy. You'll love him.
He's the best.
And I was like, really? He goes, oh, and I think I let my guard down.
Yeah.
But seriously, he walked up, and I just looked at him, and I put my hand out, and I said, Coach Huggins, welcome to Greenville, North Carolina, home of the Pirates. Put my hand out, and I swear to you, it was the most awkward 20 seconds or so because he looked at me like, where'd Opie come from? And then and then he looked down, then he looked up again, and then I was like, oh. And just about the time I was like, I'm gonna take my hand down, he put his hand out and shook my hand, and then. The interview was just brutal. I said, Coach, it's a big deal around here to have your ball club here. I think it was the first game in Conference USA is what it was, and I said it's a big deal for everybody. He goes, well, we are a big deal. I said, well, what are you looking for in the game tomorrow night? We don't care about tomorrow night. We just care about our basketball team. And I was like, well, this is going great. Let's just maybe we'll wrap it up here. So it was short and sweet.
I think I was telling Jared about like the early days of Conference USA, how cool it was to get Louisville and Cincinnati and those teams here.
Calipari came to town. That was fun to do.
And how from their standpoint of it, it was like, where are we? How do we get out of here? What kind of league am I in? But that was old early Conference USA, which became the American and the Big East and whatever it is today.
Exactly right. Yeah.
But now they're in the Big 12, going to other Texas Opie places. I guess.
Exactly.
Now they end up in Waco or whatever. All right, BB. We'll see you, man.
All right, man. Sounds good. Take care. Stay cool if you can.
Man.